So in this video, I'm going to be sharing with you how I make over $1,200 per day as a 22-year-old. And not only that, but I'm also going to share with you exactly how you can replicate my process and hopefully obtain similar results. So as you can see right now on my screen, I put a lot of screenshots of proof of payment. That way, you can clearly see I'm not just some kid in his mother's basement making content about stuff he doesn't understand, or worse, he doesn't practice himself. And then I also put some pictures of me, like randomly in my everyday life, just so you can see once more I actually spend some money. Now let's get into it, but before that I actually have a gift for you. So when we get to 30,000 YouTube subs, I'm going to be giving away $2,000. All you need to do to win that money is to subscribe, to share it with a friend, and also to just watch the video until the end. That's it. Now let's move on. So if you want to make serious money, you want to forget about these business models. Let me explain. So a lot of people, they want to make more money, they want to be financially free. I mean, I'm going to tell you for a fact, I speak to dozens of extremely ambitious people on a weekly basis, and everybody's got the same goals. Now, some people don't want the exact same thing, but it's actually always the same thing deep down. People want to be free. People want to have enough money to do all the things that they want. And I got started in business for selfish reasons. I wanted to wake up in the morning and work for myself, not make somebody else richer, instead take care of myself and of the people I love. But what's probably happening to you right now is that you're stuck in this loop, constantly consuming more and more content about what business to start or how to make money remotely online. That way you can have the freedom that you want and work from anywhere in the world. So the first business model that people typically stumble on is dropshipping with Shopify. So you basically resell the same crappy AliExpress products as everybody else. And some people, they actually make a lot of money doing that, but it's a tiny minority. That's what most people don't realize. Most people don't understand that not every business model is created equal. So all of these business models, what they have in common, and actually this isn't a business model, we'll talk about that later, but all these business models, what they have in common: dropshipping with AliExpress or Wish and Shopify, print on demand, reselling stuff on eBay, and creating a school community for like $50 a month. They're decent business models, they can work, and some people make millions of dollars per year with those. But you have to ask yourself, what is the likelihood of success? Because there's a reason why 9 out of 10 startups fail, for example. So if you start a startup, you try to create something revolutionary to reinvent the wheel, your chances of failure, of not making any money, are extremely high. There's a big difference I want you to understand right now between cash flow businesses and between valuation businesses. So for example, Shopify itself is a valuation business. The goal of that business is for it to be worth billions of dollars, that way they can eventually sell it. But if you want to make 10, 20, 30, $50,000 per month and be financially free, travel, live a life of luxury if that's what you want, provide for the people that you love, forget about valuation businesses. That's for advanced entrepreneurs who want to make billions of dollars. And as a matter of fact, I read the book of Jeff Bezos, and when he was building Amazon, his goal wasn't to be a billionaire. He just wanted to build the everything store. But for us, we want to enjoy life. Like, we're not necessarily looking to build gigantic things, and even if we are, we need lots of money for that. Instead, what we want to focus on is having a cash flow business, meaning a business that works for you, that makes you money, and that allows you to live the type of life that you want. And later on, if you wanted to start a valuation business, well, you could just use some of the cash from your business and have no need for investors. That way, you keep full control of your company. That's much better. Now, a lot of people, they try to resell stuff on eBay, but it's never a consistent business. They're not making tens of thousands of dollars per month with it. At best, they make a few $100 per month, maybe a few $1,000 per month extra, but most of it isn't even profit. And that's actually the problem with these business models, with the exception of school communities because it's a digital product. But when you sell physical products, profit margins are between 5 to 20% on average, which is nothing. So if we do the math together, if you made $10,000 with a physical product, because profit margins are only 5 to 20%, here is how much you would keep: $500 to $2,000. And what a lot of people forget is that money, it's before taxes. After taxes, if you pay 25%, if you pay 30%, and you know how much taxes we pay, like it's a lot of taxes, by the end of it, you're left with what? Half of it, so $250 to $1,000 in your pocket for you to spend however you want. But look, initially you made 10 grand, but you barely kept anything. Like, honestly, it's so frustrating. So you need to make gigantic numbers for it to even be worth it. If you wanted to keep $10,000, you'd need to make $100,000 per month. And let me tell you, 99% of people will never make 10K per month. I'm not the one saying that, it's the stats. So let alone 100K per month, which is 10 times more. Now, what about the stock market? Well, the other day, I was speaking to an older man. He was like about 40, 50, and he told me he had been investing in the stock market religiously for a decade, so 10 years. And he had a job that paid him very decently, but he wanted to make more money. He wanted more freedom. And even though he spent 10 years saving up money every month to invest it in the stock market, he was seeing a return on his investment, but it wasn't enough for him to be financially free and to quit his job. And that's why people say invest if you want to get rich. But what they don't understand is that it's only going to make a real difference if you can afford to invest a lot of money. If you can invest $1 million in the stock market, you're going to get a great return on your investment, lots of passive income. But if you can only afford to invest $100 per month, I mean, if you want to be wealthy at 60, sure, do it. It's better than not doing it. But if you actually want to enjoy your youth, and even if you're 30 right now, I don't know how old you are, but regardless, wouldn't it be better to make $1 million per year as quickly as possible, or $10,000 per month, as opposed to waiting forever to maybe one day have $1 million in the bank to retire with? Because the quality of your life when you're young, it's not the same as when you're old. I think it's pretty obvious, but lots of people tend to forget it. So we waste so much goddamn time. I'm gonna tell you for a fact, I would much rather waste money. I spend thousands of dollars for my business constantly. And the thing I really want you to understand is that you can always make more money. But once your time is lost, you can't get it back. It's impossible. And in life, you always pay with two things, time or money. I'd much rather pay with money because I can make an infinite amount of it, but my time, I can't get it back. Now, instead of doing all of this crap and barely making any money even after making 10K, what we do is we sell high-ticket coaching or services, or we can even do both. So the first pro of this business model is that we charge thousands of dollars per customer. So typically a high-ticket offer, it's going to be between $1,000 to $10,000. It's going to depend on what you sell, but the average is going to be $2,000 to $5,000. That's the average. $1,000 is the bare minimum. Do not price it any lower than that. Otherwise, it's not high ticket anymore. It's medium ticket at best. And also, if you do these kinds of business models, you sell cheap products. So for example, if you sell a $50 product, you need 200 sales to make 10K. That's 200 people you need to convince to pay you, which is very difficult. But if you sold something for 2K, you only need 5 customers. You get my point. If you sell something for 10K, you only need 10 clients. Do you think it's easier to get 5 to 10 clients or 200? And some people say, oh, surely it's easier to get more people who pay less, but honestly, it's not. It's literally the same effort to sell a more expensive thing. Now, the other thing after that, and the other reason why we sell high-ticket coaching or services, is because profit margins are extremely high, 90 to 95%. So every time I make $10,000, I keep between $9,000 to $9,500 in profit, okay? Because lots of people obsess over revenue, but lots of your favorite influencers are actually broke because they optimize for revenue to flex, but they barely make any profit. We keep 90 to 95%. You will never find any business model other than consulting and services with that insanely high profit margins. You simply won't. Now, the third thing is that we avoid nightmare customers, because it's been my experience, and lots of my mentors, they've told me the same thing, and there are people who have made dozens of millions of dollars. Every single one of them agreed that people who pay the least amount of money, like $12, $50, they are what we call nightmare customers a lot of the time. Now, obviously, I'm not saying that everybody who pays a cheap price is going to be a nightmare client. That's not true. But at the same time, if they pay a lot less money, they're a lot more likely to be nightmare customers because they're not committed, they're not invested. When you spend $2,000, $4,000 on something, you're going to take it seriously. You're going to put in the work. You're going to be invested. But the people who spend $12, they think they're entitled to success and to everything, and they want refunds for no reason, and they're horrible to deal with in general. So the amount of customer support tickets you're going to have to deal with every single day is insane. But when you work with better customers, you charge a high ticket price, you solve painful problems for people, you change their lives. So it's a win-win situation for everyone. Now, in number 4, the best model for beginners to earn cash is exactly what I just shared with you. High ticket coaching or services, which is exactly what I've done. I tried so many goddamn business models before I made any money. But this, I didn't make it with dropshipping or some other crappy business model. I made all of that by selling services and coaching offers. That's it. And that's just a snapshot of it. There's way more than that. But I couldn't put everything in there. And I know it's a screenshot and lots of people might think, oh, well, that's fake. But you know what? Like, I can't help these people. If that's their mindset, if they think this isn't real, it just shows me they don't think it's possible for them. And so they'll never make it. But it's not my problem because I'll keep making more money. So whether people choose to believe it or not, or to be skeptical about it, I get it. But the haters can go F themselves, if you know what I mean. So here is exactly how we do it. Now that you understand why we do it and why it's the best thing to do and how it works, let me share with you how we do it and how you can implement it. So the first thing is an offer. You need something to sell to someone, right? Otherwise you won't make any money. So in 2022, I started by providing lead generation services to entrepreneurs. I was helping them to book more sales calls because I figured that's what they needed. And because myself, I needed sales calls for my business, so I figured I would just kill two birds with one stone. And that worked incredibly well because there was a demand in the market. Now to come up with your offer, you want to think whether you want to sell coaching or services. So for example, with coaching, you teach the person how to do it themselves, whereas with services, you do it for them. Now, let me give you an example. Some of my customers, they do fitness coaching. Well, it's not directly, it is a service technically speaking, because coaching falls within the category of services. But the thing is, you cannot lose weight for somebody else. You have to teach them how it's done. And that's why it's coaching as opposed to done for you services. Now, let's say you were to do video editing or to provide lead generation services. You do it for them or with them. Now, some of my customers, they started with me and they wanted to provide services because they felt like they had no coaching offer that they could potentially sell and they had no skills to sell services. So what we help them to do is to find a service to sell, a niche, a market with lots of money to be made in it, and to leverage remote contractors to do the work for the customers. So it's a win-win scenario for everybody. You help the customer to fix a very painful problem they have. The contractor gets another client for free. They didn't have to do anything to acquire that customer. And you make money. You connect buyers and consumer and you keep the biggest part of the profits. It's like you have an employee, but the upside of contractors is that you only pay them for the work that they do. You never pay them up front. So first you get a client, you get paid, and then you pay a remote contractor. That way it's like completely risk-free for you. You only pay somebody else once you've made money first. Now the second thing on our list is traffic. You could have the best offer in the world, the best product, but if nobody knows about it, well, it's like having a tea shop in the middle of the desert. Don't you think it would be much smarter to have your tea shop on a busy road in London? Of course it would be, because you'd sell way more tea, even if it's lower quality. But if you're stuck in a desert, nobody even knowing your brand or company, you're not going to make a single cent. So how we get traffic, we can do different things. There's paid ads, but they're very expensive, and there's organic marketing. Organic marketing, it's typically reaching out to people, posting free content on social media. Because what lots of people don't realize is that social media content is free advertising. When I make these kinds of videos, it's free advertising for my business. So when I get a client, I get 95% profit margins because I have no cost per acquisition. Posting videos is free. And the advantage of making videos is that you can make a video and it reaches 1,000 people, 10,000 people, whereas if you wanted to reach out to people manually, you'd have to reach out to thousands and tens of thousands of people. So content gives you leverage, which is what makes people rich. You can't get rich unless you have leverage. It's like people who try to make more money by selling their time. At some point, you can't sell more of your time. You need to sell a product, a transformation, an outcome. Now the next thing after that is a sales mechanism. Typically there's two main ways to sell products and services online. You can have a sales page. So I'm going to write that, sales page, with a button to buy. So people click on a link, for example, they see a video and then they can just buy your stuff by clicking on a button. Now this works great if you have a lot of visibility, because on average, only 0.2% of people who view your offer actually become paying customers. So if you only get 100 visitors, you make no money. Instead, what you can do is to do a call, because the advantage of a call is that 20 to 35% on average of the people that you speak to actually become paying customers. And on calls, you can sell much more expensive products. If you do a page with a button to buy, you're not going to sell something for more than 1.5K. If you want to sell something for more than 1.5K, you need calls. And honestly, unless you get lots of visibility, lots of traffic, lots of views on your videos, for example, do not have a goddamn sales page, because you're gonna stay broke. Only 0.2% of people will buy. But if you only get 100 people or 1,000 visitors, which is hard to get at first as a beginner, you're not gonna make any money. And that kept me stuck for a year. I was broke for a year. I made one sale in a whole year. Then I switched to a call funnel and I 10x'd my income. Literally, my product was the same. I just sold it differently. So when you get 20% of people who buy as opposed to 0.2, you have to realize the difference is 100x. You get 100x more customers, you make 100x more money, and you help 100 times more people. So if you still think you need a sales page with a button to buy, good luck. And then there's delivery. So like we said, you can do one-to-one coaching. At first, if you're a beginner, if you want to do coaching, that's what I suggest you do. But you can also move on to group coaching. Right now, that's what I'm doing, to work with more people. Then you also have services, so you can just do it yourself or use remote contractors. And then to scale your business and to make even more money, there's a little secret I have, which is to optimize as much as possible your entire funnel, meaning you recontact everybody. All of your leads, you recontact them, you follow up with them. And if you do it right, 40% of people answer on average, and then you can get 20% of these people back to book a call with you. Now, to be completely honest with you, if you knew how to make $10,000 and more online per month, you would have done it already. Like honestly, that's probably you being constantly frustrated because you want to make more money, but no matter what you try, it's just not working. That's because there's so much that goes into it, as you can see. Like this board is huge, and I have bigger ones in fact. And the problem is that even if you've got this and this and this and this, if you mess one tiny thing up, then the whole thing doesn't work, because it's really like a puzzle. You need to have all the pieces put together in the right way. And that's why it took me a long time to figure this stuff out and to earn that kind of money. So to help you, you can book a free call with me. And together on that free call, I'm going to help you to come up with a game plan for you to get to $10,000 per month as quickly as possible. Now, I do have to say, spots fill up extremely quickly. So be quick if you don't want to miss out on it. You will find the link in the description below. With that being said, I will see you on the other side.